Welcome to Wrestling's Hottest Audacious Takes, hosted by myself, Aaron Rift of NoDQ.com. In this video series, I read some of your boldest opinions about professional wrestling, and then I give my responses. Let's take a look at today's topics. CM Punk ruined his legacy by returning to WWE. I very much disagree with this one, although I do understand where you're coming from. Some people thought that CM Punk represented the voice of the voiceless, and when he left WWE, he was a man of his word. He would not go back, but then he returned, making him corporate, making him a hypocrite. Here's the thing. Just about everybody that left WWE over the years ended up coming back, whether it was Bret Hart, or Brock Lesnar, or Bruno Sammartino. Were they hypocrites? You could say that, but to say that CM Punk ruined his legacy, I just do not agree with that whatsoever. I think CM Punk coming back was something fans wanted for years. They were chanting CM Punk's name at events. There was a demand for him to return. The WWE fan base wanted to see it happen. They chanted for him year in and year out. He finally returned, and he's done tremendous work since returning. I do not think he has ruined his legacy at all. If anything, I think he's made it grow. Austin Theory should be in the world title picture. There are some people that feel that way. I do not agree with that. The reason being is that he had his opportunity, and it just did not feel authentic. Maybe WWE could have booked him a little bit better. I just felt like when he was in there with John Cena, he got exposed. He wasn't at Cena's level. He could not hold his own against John Cena as far as his character went. In the ring, he's good. Austin Theory is very good. But he's in a sea of excellent wrestlers, and unless you have that larger-than-life personality and that ability to organically connect with the audience, you're not going to really stand out from the others. I don't think he should be in the world title picture unless he shows something that 95% of the roster doesn't have. The quote, wrestling in AEW is the worst part of the show. They always do some sort of weird, meaningless spots that ruin every match. I can see where you're coming from with this one. I would not agree with you though. The reason being is that the way AEW does wrestling is what their audience wants to see. They want something different from WWE. They like the athleticism. They like the bangers. They want to see the competitive 15, 20-minute matches with all the acrobatic reversals. That's what they love. That to them is wrestling. And really, wrestling is subjective. It's like music. There's all sorts of different genres of music, and the same thing goes for wrestling. Some people like a match with submission holds. Some like lucha libre. Some just want two interesting characters punching each other in the face repeatedly. It just depends what your own taste is. AEW caters to a certain audience, whether you like it or not. That's your own personal opinion. As a general concession, a world championship reign should always be a minimum of a year long. I disagree with this one. I like when things are not predictable. And if every championship reign was at least a year long, it would get boring. It would guarantee for 11 months you're not going to see a title change. And I would not be a fan of that. I like the idea of a new champion sometimes losing in their first defense. Now, I do think that wrestlers should, for the most part, have longer reigns. I don't think they need to be a year, but 6 months. I think that your average champion should have a length about that long, because you want the title to have credibility and make it hard to win, but also at the same time, I think you really need to have that feeling of anybody can win on any given night and nothing is a guarantee. just for the sake of the viewers, there needs to be some unpredictability with it. You got to find a happy medium where the titles and the title reigns are credible, but at the same time, they're not overly predictable. This current iteration of Sami Zayn is his worst character he's ever done in WWE. The holier than thou shtick is old and repetitive. I disagree with this one. I think the worst version of Sami Zayn was around the time he was feuding with Johnny Knoxville. Sami Zayn is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's a top-level babyface. To his credit, I think he did well as a heel, but the cowardly heel really held him back. I love Sami Zayn's work. I think he's one of the top talkers in addition to being one of the best wrestlers in the world. I think his character right now, it's very much like this decade's Daniel Bryan. He is the ultimate underdog, and you want to root for him. His comebacks are great. You cheer him on. I love Sami Zayn, and I think what he's doing right now is peak Sami Zayn. There are no big stars in today's wrestling besides Roman Reigns and John Cena. Better athletes, sure, but better stars, no. It's hard to surpass the stardom of somebody like Steve Austin or The Rock or Hulk Hogan. In that sense, I actually agree with your take. But I will argue that WWE, within their bubble, they have a lot of star power, whether it's Jey Uso or LA Knight. These guys are able to make a connection with the audience, and when they come out there, they're treated like rock stars. They're never going to be guys at that level again because things have changed with the industry. It's not about the one person carrying the company anymore. Now it's the brand that sells. People go to a WWE show because it's WWE. They're not going for one specific person. And I don't think we're ever really going to see that level of mainstream star again. It really was lightning in a bottle. They caught it a couple of times. Maybe one day somebody will come close, but I don't see that happening. For what it is now, I think WWE does a great job of creating stars. Their numbers, their attendance, the WWE brand, it's as strong as it's ever been, thanks to the fact that they know how to market and produce these stars. The 2003 Triple H and Booker T storyline was fine. You should be upset that Booker T lost. It's a TV show. The villain won that season to set up the next season. That's a fair argument. I think people were upset with that storyline because Triple H was out there saying people like you to Booker T, and then Booker T lost. I can see why people were upset about that. I get where you're coming from, though. Triple H was the heel champion. They were pushing him as a dominant heel champion. Some say Triple H was maybe pulling some strings behind the scenes as the soon-to-be son-in-law at the time. I do agree with the idea that you want to build your heel champion, and not every challenger is going to beat the champion. You have to let the champion go on a lengthy run before you can crown a new champion. And Booker T was probably not going to be that guy, considering that he was already a veteran at that time. He had already been in the business for several years at that point. I could see both sides of the argument. I think the other issue too is that some people felt that Triple H was being pushed because of who he was in a relationship with, and other talent were not being elevated, whether it was Booker T or Rob Van Dam. There were several names that people wanted to see potentially beat Triple H, and WWE was really looking for a new star. That's why it ultimately went to Randy Orton, John Cena, and even though he was older, he was one of the newer pushed stars, Batista. Those were the guys WWE wanted to push, the people that they were going to build the company around for the future. They were never really going to push Rob Van Dam and Booker T as the guys to build the company around, because those guys had already been well established, and WWE was looking at their younger guys from Ohio Valley Wrestling. That's what it was all about. That concludes this edition of wrestling's most audacious takes. What were your thoughts on these opinions? Leave a comment and subscribe to the No DQ YouTube channel for the latest wrestling news and discussion.